Hey, Luke, this isn't recording, is it? I got to tell you something really cool that happened. It's not quite, I can't quite be certain about it, but the other day I was deadlifting and I was wearing that new Hostile hoodie, you know, the green military one. And I'm getting ready for this competition coming up end of October 28th. And it's the first time I'm competing in the deadlift. So I was working out in the hangar and I had the garage door open. It was a little chilly, so I threw the hoodie on and no word of a lie, I fucking did 750 pounds on the deadlift for 3 reps. Now, the freaky thing is the week before I was doing doubles at 375. Anyway, I don't want to jump the gun, but I think there's something to do with the hoodie. So anyway, I got to tell somebody because no one will fucking believe me. So at the end of the day, I'm going to try it again. I'm going to put some science behind it, but I think I might have to jack the prices up on those hoodies. Anyway, let's get ready for the show. Rebuilding, the catastrophic failure, a new start, physically, mentally, our careers, our businesses, step back, first step, next step. The driver in me just wants to get it done tomorrow. We'll do this, do that, let's move this, where are we at with this? You build some confidence, build some self-esteem, start to feel better about yourself. The Silverback Blueprint Podcast, a show for men over 40. We focus on getting stronger, staying motivated, building discipline, creating a community, and becoming truly happy. Hey guys, welcome to the Silverback Blueprint Podcast, episode number 46. I had to look at my notes because I have so many episodes that's going on. And got some cool stuff. Today I want to talk about some cool topics. The last couple of sessions that Luke and I have done, we've actually been running some interviews and stuff. So it's been some really cool stuff. And we'll talk a bit about that a little later. But one of the things I want to talk about is fear. And again, a lot of times when I come up with these topics, guys, it's either something's happening to me, I'm currently going through something, and I think that's why, it's important that I share this. And it's kind of therapeutic, I get a chance to talk about it. But I also believe that if I'm going through it, and I'm kind of like the average, male, below average, according to some people in certain areas, but whatever, I make up for it with enthusiasm. And, let's not go there. That's another episode. So I want to talk about fear, and I think fear is something we all deal with, obviously, but I think it comes in different levels, at different intensities. I think when we think of the word fear, we tend to think of the big things, fear of losing your job, fear of, a horrible health thing, a fear of something happened to our family. I've got kids and I never used to worry about shit that I worry about now until I had children and stuff. It's just unbelievable. I think back sometimes, when we were young and the shit we did, and, I remember falling out of the trees and getting hit by vehicles and shit. And, and I'm like, yeah, fuck, I was all right. I just got up and I walked away. But then all of a sudden I'm like, well, that shit can happen to my kids. Right. And it just, it just really worries me. And not to mention the world is a pretty fucking sick place sometimes. So, I think about them when they're out there in their day dealing with their stuff and, what's out there, what the potential is. And I get into this debate sometimes just on that topic with a couple of guys that I shoot the shit with and stuff. And we're always trying to wonder, is the world a crazier place now than it was, when I was like 15, 14, my kids are 14 to 16 right now? Or are we just more aware because of the internet and because of the news and stuff? Like, I mean, listen, at 49, when I was 15, 16, there was no internet. There was the news at 6 p.m., and we had 3 channels back in the day. So if it wasn't happening locally or it wasn't a huge thing nationally, we just didn't hear about it. So, I got a couple of buddies who think, believe that, no, that stuff's always been going on. It's just we didn't hear about it then. But now because, news is much more of a business. But I think also because information's at our fingertips, shit's always flying up on Facebook and on Twitter and different areas like that. Are we just being made more aware of it? So, I think just the world's changed quite a bit, and I think there's just more sick fucks out there and lost people and that kind of thing. I always say that, if I was 15 nowadays, who fucking knows what I'd be up to, especially the way, life was for me when I was 15, 16. There wasn't all these things coming at me. There wasn't all these distractions. There wasn't all this. I mean, fuck, I remember, the first time I saw like a picture of a naked woman, I was like 29. No, but I remember I was like 16 or 15 and, a buddy of mine brought these little playing cards and it was these naked chicks and it was like, what the fuck? That's crazy, right? And we're hiding it. And oh my God, what's happening? And nowadays, you type the wrong thing in Google and you're fucking, you're subjected to fucking people eating shit. And it's just crazy, that kind of stuff. So I just wonder. I just wonder. I really do and stuff. But, those are the big fears, especially as a parent, or, if you got, a job that might be in jeopardy, or a business and stuff like that, and I'm being in business myself, I can attest to some of the daily fears, obviously. But I think also it's the small fears, especially when we're dealing in a position of vulnerability. A lot of times as we're rebuilding, we're not in the strongest place. We're not coming from the strongest place as far as self-esteem and confidence. And what little we're starting to rebuild back, I think is very fragile. And I think, we can be doing really well. And then all of a sudden something comes along and just, a little thing sometimes, and boom, it can derail us overall. So, sometimes, the fears are, do I look fat in this shirt? That kind of thing. I mean, those are things that cross my mind. I shoot a lot of video and stuff. And as a good friend of mine would say, well, Kurt, you look fat in any shirt. I'm like, well, thanks, buddy. I appreciate that honesty. But it's sometimes it's those little fears that sometimes I think can derail us even faster, right, than the big ones, because we expect the big ones to be big. Do you know what I mean? Like, we kind of approach it that way. And it's funny, that small fear and those things can just really start turning your mindset so quickly. And I think that's why we have to be steadfast, and we have to, catch ourselves. And when we feel we're starting to be a little paralyzed, because, we don't want to get out of the car right away, or we don't want to go into the situation, or we're just about to walk into a meeting and all of a sudden we get this wave of anxiety that hits us. I think it's very normal. And I think it's part of that fight every day, that we have to keep facing it, and we have to keep stepping into it, right? And so, going back to training and feeling healthier and stronger, if we're healthier and stronger on the inside, we're better braced. Do you know what I mean? Like, we feel prepared, or as I like to say in better English, prepared. To deal with it. The ever readiness of it all, I think, is super important. But don't discount the fact that you're going to run into those small fears, and it's not always the big ones. It's those small ones that catch us off guard, right? And I think it's very interesting how fast we can start to recognize that, and then how quickly we can pull ourselves out of it, right? And I think that's the magic. And I think, like anything else, that's a skill set. And it's to practice it, and it's to come up with ways. So, I found myself, and again, this is some stuff that's been happening to me in the last little bit. I have a lot on the go. Things are really, really getting faster and faster at Hostile. The gym is doing better and better. The coaches are great. The clients are great. The brand, the clothing, a couple other projects we're working on, the podcast. A lot of things are coming at a faster rate. And sometimes that's one of my fears. Am I able to keep up with it? Am I able to keep juggling all the things? I'm trying to stay a lot more focused. 10, 15 years ago, I would have had 10 times the things I'm trying to do, right? And shitting the bed on all of them. So, that's one of my fears I keep in the back of my mind is that, hey, can we handle this? Do we have the bandwidth? And starting to say no to a few more things, but also to make sure that I've got the energy to keep focused on the things that we do have coming. And, that's a fear. Sometimes I sit there and I get worried that what if it becomes overwhelming, right? And I mean, some of those were the triggers for me when I was drinking, right? Things would get overwhelming. I'd need a break. I'd go upstairs because we have a pub above the gym. How convenient was that? And, I'm just going to have a quick beer. And next thing you know, it's 2:00 in the morning, right? That kind of stuff, because it feels good and, it takes your mind off certain things. But, obviously that's not what I do anymore, and that's not what I wanted to do. So we find different tools and different ways of doing it. But that daily fear, guys, it's real. And I want you guys to understand that it's a normal thing. So, sometimes we sit there and we think, oh, it's just happening to me. I'm fucked up and no one else feels this and stuff, right? And I'm telling you, as far as my experience has been for myself, and again, dealing with a lot of other guys over 40, and the feedback I get, and just working with them at the gym and stuff, and having conversations, it's a normal thing. It's a normal thing. What's that stat that, guys think about sex 22 times in an hour and stuff like that? I bet you that, dealing with those small fears and big fears, I don't think it's too far behind it. I really don't. I think it's something that if we quiet down enough, and I think that's why a lot of times we try to keep busy, is we don't want to hear what's in our head, so we want some external noise. It's really hard, guys. We just started a new Silverback group, started up on the beginning of the month, and it's always one of the toughest things is to get the guys used to that 5-10 minutes of journaling and getting quiet in their head and getting alone with their thoughts, right? And it's not very comfortable and it's scary. And again, some of those fears come right. Some of those fears are right at the surface, and then you just give them a little bit of attention, and they'll jump up and magnify right into your train of thought and stuff, right? So, of course, what's the natural thing we want to do? We want to steer away from that. We want to avoid that. We Netflix, we drink, we find different things to keep ourselves busy, right? Sometimes we keep our life in a state of chaos so that we have to focus with the day-to-day chaos rather than sit down and have that meaningful conversation with ourselves, right? So, again, it's not easy, but it's fixable, it's doable, it's manageable, right? I don't think fixable is a word. I think I misspoke there. I think it becomes manageable with tactics, recognizing it, and then giving yourself the time and the energy and the tools to deal with that stuff. So that's what I want to talk about, guys. And again, if you have any questions on that, let me know. If you have any comments, please let me know what's happening with that. That's fantastic. In the meantime, head on over to iTunes, leave us a 5-star review. We've got 9 5-star reviews right now. That's crazy. We're just one digit away from double digits. We're taking the iTunes world by storm. Well, maybe a small breeze. But anyway, if you head on over there, guys, if you're getting anything out of this really, really helps us. And I know it's a bit of a pain in the ass to head over there and do it because you got to, give your blood type and all that crazy shit, but it goes a long way to really help us get found on iTunes and just able to get the word out to more silverbacks out there and just be able to help other guys going through what we're going through. And in the meantime, guys, head on over to hostilegear.com. Remember, you guys get a 20% discount for using the word silverback if you want to score some. It's chilly right now, so hoodies are the rage. I think that's a new hoodie I should come up with. Hoodies are the rage. There we go. Again, another marketing first at the podcast. And in the meantime, guys, thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you guys later.